Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Stencil Saturday video. This week we are going to combine two stencils. So if you look, you'll see that what I did was first I laid down my lines and grid stencil and I marked the lines, which are 1/2 inch spaced lines. And then I used my Bullseye stencil and I marked half of one and half. And so the way that I did that, let me just show you the stencil real quick. So you don't need to do this. I put tape on there on my stencil so that you could, so I didn't mark the rest because I don't want to get myself confused. So then I just lined this up and you can see through the stencils pretty good. So I was able to see where the lines were. I lined it up and then I just marked right here. Now if you had a bunch, I would probably put a little more tape so I could do like more if you were going to line it up. So if you have my stencil book or you've taken a class from me, more than likely you've seen some designs I do with the Bullseye stencil. In general, I don't normally ever stitch the lines, the circles of the Bullseye. I usually just use those as areas or boundary lines to insert other quilting in there. And, you know, they're just a guide, and then I get rid of the lines and you have this cool design. But I also do a lot of straight line work. I mean, I love ruler work. I love line quilting. And I've been playing with, you know, the different optical illusions that you can create when you put some bends or some angles mixed in with your straight lines. So the problem is then obviously if we're doing straight lines, which are going to be straight because you're going to use a ruler to stitch them, they're going to be perfect. You then really need to use a ruler to stitch the rings. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal. I think most of us who long arm quilt, or even if you're a domestic quilter and you use rulers, you probably have some circle rulers. So you're going to need some circle rulers to stitch this. You're going to need a 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch circles. So, you know, I have a set. I love Deloa Jones circle rulers. They're my favorite. I have like every size that she offers. And generally I would use these for this, and you can use them if you have another set. Any of them will work, just so you have 1 through 4 to use. The problem that I tend to have is that now I have 4 rulers laying here, and you know, we're going to stitch the line and then come down. So I'm going to move that ruler out, grab the 1 inch ruler or whichever ring I'm on. And what happens is that I'm going to pick up probably 2 or 3 different rulers before I grab the right one. So it just becomes kind of a thing for me, and it was driving me a bit crazy. So I made a ruler to stitch the Bullseye. Do you need to have it? No, you don't. Because like I said, you can use any circle set will work. But I just didn't want to have to keep grabbing for a different circle template every time I came to this line. So I wanted them to be all on one. So it's real original, the Bullseye ruler. What it's going to do is stitch all 4 circles, 1, 2, 3, and 4 inches. I also like, my preference is to be able to hold the ruler so that it's easy without being, you know, turning your hands all kind of crazy ways. So I wanted an inside and an outside of each. So the ruler is pretty large. It's like, I want to say 8.5 by 11. I generally don't like large rulers, but once I played with this, I'm fine with it because you're working with just one at a time. So I'm only using this, so I can just hold it here. For me, really big rulers are a problem when I have to hold it way out to the side. I just feel like I can't manipulate it. But with this, I'm going to hold it right here. Because it is large, I like some kind of sticky thing, you know, whether it's tape, whatever you use will work, on the back so that it's not going to move. And you'll notice, I mean, like I have a zillion of them on here. I have a tendency to over sticky dot mine, but I just don't want them to move. And I'm using these Gypsy Quilter no slip grip dots. I really like them. I just do. They don't cover up too much, and I can put them where I want, you know. So that's kind of that. So either way will work. You can use your circle set. I'm going to use this, and this is so simple, but the illusion is very cool. So I'm going to go ahead and actually stitch kind of a couple of these to get them in. And then, well, actually, I'll just stitch all of them. So what I'm going to do is start up here. If I can grab a hold of my thread. Oh, let me grab what I did here. Oop. There it went. Okay, let me get my bobbin back in here. Always something. And now I'm going to have a thread that's a mile long, but that's all right. Oh, wait. Okay, put this back in. And sorry about that. All right, I'm just going to start over here. I'm just going to use my, and this could be spaced differently. That's up to you as well. I mean, I'm just going to use the 1/2 inch. I'm just going to stitch these first lines here. I've been playing a bit with this in different ways that you can add the bullseye in, and it's pretty cool. You can use just half of it to make the lines look like they change direction, kind of cut through the other lines. And I've been playing a little bit too with using just 1/4 of the bullseye. Okay, so this next one, we're going to start into the bullseye here. So I'm going to go up, and what I'm going to do, I want to do the center first. So I'm going to go up until I hit into that 1 inch, this first circle. Now, okay, so now we're going to stitch this first circle. And just gonna go around there. When I get back to the line, I'm gonna go ahead and continue that line straight up. So now as I come down, what I'm gonna do is stop when I get to the next circle. So you're gonna notice, I mean, you're not going to the end of it, but as soon as you bump into the next one, then we're going to do the 2 inch. So let me just put that right there. Stitch that. Again, remembering to stop when you come to the line. And down. So this next line, we're going to go up. And we're going to stop when we come to the next ring. And that's going to be the 3 inch. So I'm going to put that right here. Whoop, passed up my line. Oops. And then continue on. And now for the last, which is the 4 inch ring. So I'm going to travel down here, stop as soon as I bump into that circle. I'm going to do the 4 inch. You want this one to land right on that line, because the other one is gonna go there as well. Come to this line and go down. This line will go straight through. And I kind of slow down when I get up here to make sure I'm kind of hitting right on that line. And then through the center. So for the next one, I find it the easiest to start with the smallest circle first. It just, so I remember what I'm doing. So I'm going to go all the way down. When I come to that smallest 1-inch circle, bring my ruler over here and stitch that. Continue the line. And I'm just going to do the same thing again that I did on the other side. I'm going to come up with this one. Make sure I stop when I get to that 2-inch circle. Put my ruler in here. Stitch that. The hardest part is to remember to not keep going and stop at the right line. Up. Now we're going to stop at the 3-inch right there. As I hit that, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this 3-inch. And you'll see, I don't know if you can notice or not, but this line is able to line up. It's just a little tricky because if you use the markings here, that's to stitch the entire circle. So this is going to be scooted down a little bit. You're not really using that marking to stitch this. Stop at your line. And then this last one. And again, this one, you just want to be careful that you slow down up at the top there to make sure that you hit right there. And then continue your straight line. And then finish up with your straight lines. So let me go ahead and stitch these real quick. Okay, now that those lines are done, we can take a look at this. I'm hoping we can see it good because it's really all about the texture of it, and you kind of see these hidden designs. Let me see if turning the light off will help any. Yeah, a little bit anyway. So you can see, I mean, it's really the illusion is awesome. I mean, because these lines come down, and because they bend, everywhere that they bend is what creates this secondary, except for my little goof up there, but that's okay. And then these lines, so you get like this secondary shape in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.